Welcome everyone to a 2011 Audi S4 with 180,000 miles. Why in the world would I buy an Audi with so many miles? Well, there are a few reasons behind that. Number one is for you, the viewers. I did a poll a few weeks back when I was getting the S2000 ready for sale. And in that poll I asked, what kind of vehicle would you like to see? A muscle car, a pickup, or a sports sedan? And I thought it would be pickup, hands down. To my surprise, sports sedan was the winner, and that started my search. Immediately I thought BMW M3. I've always loved the 3 Series, and the M3 is just another level above that. Unfortunately, they are just so expensive. A high mileage M3 is north of $20,000. Very, very expensive, and they have rod bearing issues, cracked subframes. So that was put in the back of my mind, placed in the back of my mind. Next was an AMG Mercedes. Very cool. I love the sound of their V8s. Unfortunately, I'm looking for a manual, and the large majority of AMGs are only available in automatic. So maybe in the future that's something we can come across, but that was out. The next vehicle, which I absolutely adore, I've always wanted one, is the Cadillac Cts-V. I grew up with muscle cars. I love big V8s, American V8s with all that low-end torque. Brembo brakes, 6-speed manual transmission, Corvette engine. Again, even the first generation Cts-Vs, over $20,000. I remember these cars a couple of years ago being like 15 grand. Forget it now, they're over 20 grand. And within this searching, my searching is also popping up Audi S4s. And that's when I started looking at these vehicles, and I researched them and researched them. This is known as the B8, which is a 3-liter supercharged power plant, around 330 horsepower, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. But that's how I came across this vehicle. So that was number one. Number two, with this specific vehicle, is the service history. I have a packet this thick, or folder, of service history, 90% from an Audi dealership. The original owner went to the dealership for everything: oil changes, tune-ups, clutch, thermostat, which is a known problem on this vehicle, tire rotation, tire changes. He did everything at the dealership, and I have those records. To me, that's gold. I probably would have passed on this vehicle without those records, so that was a really nice thing to find. Thirdly was the fact to get the vehicle to my house would cost nothing. In the past, I've spent hundreds and hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 to ship a vehicle. Very, very expensive. In this case, I made an agreement with the seller. If I buy the vehicle, can you drop the vehicle off at my house? And no problem. So that cost me nothing in terms of getting the vehicle to me. Now, what I paid for the car along with the sales tax, that's something a lot of people don't think about. I'm over 13 grand in this vehicle, which I will never make back. I honestly think that these cars are so inflated in terms of all used cars and all new cars. They are so inflated, prices are going to start coming down. So I don't expect to make that money back. I really don't. But nonetheless, it's a very, very cool car. I have to say, after 180,000 miles, this thing feels absolutely fresh. Everything works 100%. All the buttons, all the controls, all of the lights, plenty and plenty of power. Nothing rattles, nothing squeaks. So it's just very, very nice to see the build quality on this vehicle. Some known issues regarding this car are carbon buildup. Again, the thermostats are known to fail on these vehicles, and that was already done by the dealer. Last tune-up was 155,000 miles regarding the spark plugs, but certainly I'll do some other things to the vehicle in terms of maintenance, as well as checking a number of things. Now, it does need something rather quickly. Let's jump in the garage and I'll show you. And here we have the 3-liter supercharged V6. Quite snug, but not impossible to work on. 333 horsepower, and I do plan on bringing this vehicle to a dyno and seeing if it still has all of that power. But the first thing, take a look at the valve cover. So we have the driver's side valve cover and the passenger side. And on the driver's side, we have all of this oily residue. It's not coming from the cap. This has a problem regarding the valve cover gasket. These gaskets are shot. I have no history of them ever being replaced. That is the first repair we will do together. And then, of course, I'll replace the drive belt, air filter, pollen filter. The other hurdle on modern vehicles are the plastic belly pans. So in other words, until this pan is removed, I don't know, is the vehicle leaking engine oil from the lower oil pan? Is it leaking power steering fluid? Is there rust? This is a lifelong Northeastern vehicle, so I don't know if it has been garaged. It looks really clean, doesn't look, I don't see any rust anywhere, but once we jack up the vehicle, it could be something different. So I will take you along on that journey. And lastly, before we wrap it up, any S4 owners out there, if you have any recommendations or if you would like to see anything, please leave those comments. I know these are known to have issues regarding carbon buildup. I will check that. And the thermostat, which has been replaced, but it has been some time. And that's what we have here. So enjoy this series. I will continue with the other vehicles as always. And until next time, thank you so much for watching.